Wow. Thanks, man. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. All right. So thanks for having me. Real quick, before Jay-Z married his wife, what did he call her? Fiance. All right. I'll try another one. I'll try another one. What tea sometimes is very hard to swallow? Close. Reality. Reality. Well, let me start off by saying thanks for having me. I'd like to give a special thanks to Carroll College, the whole World Affairs team, and I'd like to thank all of you all as well for being here, having me here, me being able to be here with you all tonight. So let's just warm up a little bit and give ourselves a round of applause. We made it. We're here, we're present, we're all feeling good. We're about to embark on a great week. So we got a lot to be thankful for. So I know this is going to be an amazing week for you. And the theme of the week is reimagining global health and wellness. So as I was thinking about what to talk about, I was talking to my wife about it actually. And we were talking about it and she was coaching me and telling me what I should do and asking me who the audience was. And so we looked at the title again and we were both like, wow, what's the most powerful part of that title? And she was like, the re. Why is re so powerful? Why is that little prefix so powerful? Especially for you all as young people with so much future ahead of you, so much opportunity ahead of you. Why is that so powerful? And so as we continue to talk about it, we talked about it as a way to start over, a way to have new beginnings, a way to reflect, a way to think about things differently, a way in the moment of having a certain kind of feeling or well-being and being able to use and think about re in front of some sort of action can change things. Not totally, but just enough to point you in the right direction and lead you down your path. And so when we think about that, it gives us the opportunity to redo things, do things more efficiently, and actually think about doing things in more sustainable ways. Why? Because when we're basically either correcting a mistake, changing something we didn't like. And so when we think about sustainability, when we think about efficiency, when we think about all of those things, that offers us this opportunity whenever we're being, doing, or having, or again, any of the business of life. It gives us this sort of, this portal, if you will, to think about things, reflect on things, and to choose again, to take a different path, if that be the choice. So, reimagining global health and wellness. So some say when we think about that, reimagining, right? Some say vision is the key. Vision is the key to life. Well, vision is the key to life, then it opens up your imagination. And your imagination is probably one of the most powerful tools or gifts that we all have individually. And I know you all are probably aware of this for a number of reasons, because there's a ton of information and knowledge available to you all at your fingertips. So you're constantly in a position to be in the know, but not necessarily have all of the experience that goes with the know. But the cool part about it is you have the opportunity to gain the knowledge and to be able to take that with you on your journey in a different way, especially in the times that we're in now. So let's talk about re a little bit. And so in this discussion, we're going to go a few different places, but the heart of it is really going to be about the imagination, about vision, and about how to use it in a way that allows you to engage and tackle challenges, prevent challenges, solve problems, both in your personal life, with your own internal goals, and externally as well. So reimagining global health and wellness, tell me which RE words of intention resonate with you. Now, it resonate with you whether individually again, or resonate with you because of some broader meaning to you in your life. So to reaffirm. So is this opportunity to, in global health, reaffirm a commitment to health equity, maybe. Maybe it's opportunity to rethink how services are delivered. Look how powerful that re word is. There's something up there that connects with each of us in one way or the other, whether in our personal life, whether in our life in the community, life at work, life at school, or what have you. Look how powerful that is. Look how well that language can serve you. Recreate my vision for myself. Recreate a vision for the community. Rewrite the rules of situations that you feel are inequitable or unfavorable or unfair. Realign the team. That's going to be a big part of what you all are doing this week. Learning about yourselves, learning about each other, and aligning in a way that creates synergy, create new ideas, create new opportunities. And that's what this work and these things are about, these opportunities here. They're an opportunity for you to be able to gain some experience in engaging with people who might have different ideas, come from different places, but you all have value. And what's important about that is that you make space for everybody to be able to share their value, for everyone to be able to be heard, for everyone to be able to be respected. It's really important. But if you choose not to, you can always rethink it or rewrite it or refocus to pull yourself back into a place where you're open to it. Because to think about being a part of a world seminars, world affairs, that's a pretty big thought. And to think about reimagining global health, that's even a more huge thought. So again, I'm Antonio Butts, Executive Director at Walnut Way Conservation Corporation. And it's a neighborhood organization in the heart of Milwaukee. And the focus of our work is on 3 areas. It's on community engagement, it's on environmental stewardship, and it's on economic development. So organization has been around now for 20 years. And for 20 years, that's really what we've been doing as an organization, Walnut Way. We've been thinking about things and doing things in new and interesting and cool ways. Not necessarily new things, just going about them in a different way. The core of our mission is to create spaces and then sustain those spaces. So to create a space like the World Affairs Seminar and then sustain it year after year, so that people can participate, have the experience, share those experiences, and then take their learnings off into the world, very similar to the experience that you all are having today. And so when we think about that, and we think about you all again as youth, our future, you all are responsible for what the future will be. And it's a pretty big responsibility. So whatever you all are imagining, whatever you all are believing, whatever habits you all have, those will be the experiences that we all have in the future. So it's very important as you think about your own value, your own power, your own voice, and how to incorporate that into the bigger, the broader group in an inclusive way. It's really, really important. And you are powerful, and you do have a powerful voice, and you do have meaning in life. And there are things waiting on you, but you do have to meet them. It is something like a rendezvous, and you all kind of know that. That's why you're here today. You know you're headed somewhere. And so to get there, You're going to need tools to do that. And so to have a title like Reimagining Global Health and Wellness is a tool all unto itself to say that things don't have to be the same. Things can be different. And you have the tools, the power, and the influence to do it. And again, that's what this work is about all week for you all here. So let's look at it again. Reimagining global health and wellness. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Does it mean something to you based on experiences in your family? Does that mean something to you based on experiences in your community? Based on what you see and hear in the news and multimedia? What does that really mean to you? It means different things to all of us. And we all know that there's some major health and wellness challenges across the world and including Wisconsin. And so, but what we do believe is that any big problem can be solved if broken down into smaller parts. And so when you're reimagining things and you're thinking about how things work, that's essentially what you're doing. Figuring out the mechanics of things and different ways to do the same thing, again, in more sustainable, efficient, in ways that are more inclusive. But what does it mean to a Walnut Way? What does it mean to me? I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I grew up in some of the neighborhoods where we do most of our work. What does reimagining global health mean to Walnut Way and the work that we're doing today? And how does that work complement all of our work together? Because we're all up under the sun together, working to create a higher level of well-being, a better quality of life. So how does that work for Walnut Way as you think about how it works for you? So in the neighborhoods where we do most of our work is in Milwaukee. It was a study done by UWM Professor Emeritus, Dr. Mark Levine. And this study was done in 2020. So just right before the pandemic, just about. And so the question here is, in comparison to other cities, where does Milwaukee's African-American community rank in health and wellness? And so in this study that Dr. Levine did, he set it up with 30 different indicators. And I'll read here what it says. Milwaukee ranked last or next to last on 11 of them. It ranked in the bottom 5 on 19 of them and ranked in the bottom 10 among 50 metro areas on all but 4 of the indicators. No metro area approaches the consistently poor performance of Milwaukee on these measures of African-American well-being. And so I share that with you because we all have some work in our effort to improve global health and wellness. Wherever we are doing our work from, we have to lead from where we live. So it doesn't matter because the aggregate, the collective impact, it helps improves us all. And so when we think about Walnut Way and its work, a lot of its work is grounded in reimagining well-being for African Americans and communities of color in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So here's a little bit about us. Walnut Way is an asset-based approach. Walnut Way's asset-based approach values and leverages the lived experience and civic will of residents in socially, economically, and environmentally isolated communities. That means the lived experience. That means wherever you come from, we'll meet you where you are, we'll walk together, and we'll build together. You don't have to qualify, you don't have to meet any requirements, you don't need to be anybody special. All you need to be is willing to rethink, reimagine, or whatever change you have in order for us to partner and be able to move forward. The neighborhood where we do most of our work is about 110 square blocks, just under 10,000 residents, and the average income is less than 25,000. And by economic standards, that's essentially, poverty for most people who live in the area. But the amount of money you have doesn't have to determine your well-being or your quality of life. And so what we want to talk about are the things that Walnut Way is doing, the things that you all are doing now that people don't know about, the things that you will do as you continue to uncover your talents and find your different skills on your journey. So in those three pillars of community engagement, environmental stewardship, and economic development, in those three pillars, there are some ideas that could add value to your life as you grow and develop. And so when we think about community engagement, we really think about wellness. That's how we talk about it a lot of times. When we talk about environmental stewardship, we talk about work. And then when we talk about economic development, we talk about wealth. So the vision of our work at Walnut Way is to eliminate the barriers to wellness, work, and wealth. The key thing about a vision is that it's supposed to be so big that it would seem impossible to accomplish. So as far as you go, you think about how much has to be done. You get things done along the way, and you pass the baton to the folks who are coming behind you or moving alongside you to carry the work forward. Wellness, work, and wealth. And our vision is to eliminate the barriers to those three things. The core values of this work from a neighborhood level is that it's resident-led, meaning that the solutions come from where the problems exist, meaning that no one can sort of float in and solve the problem that folks have and not be able to have them be a part of shaping what the solution is really important. In your communities, in my community, in other communities around the world, it's very important that the people who are there in those places have a voice and are part of shaping the solutions that are implemented or integrated into their lives and their lifestyles. Work and environmental stewardship, learning through implementation. That means that we take tests, we take risks, we try different things. We work with people sometimes that other folks might not want to work with. And we do those things because of an idea about the greater good, about the ideas of community, about all of the things that we actually do have in common. And then economic development and thinking about wealth. And that's the spirit of abundance. And knowing that there is enough here for all of us. But the dynamic is, how do we build strong enough relationships to share with each other? Because there's no shortage of anything. We have so much that we throw more than a third of it away, regardless of what it is, whatever type of commodity or consumer good or what have you. So there's more than enough for all of us. So is it just our internal biases, our personalities? What is the issue in terms of us being able to work together with more harmony in our work, with having with preferring that, with preferring that type of harmony when you think about those sort of things? So I was going to pop up our website and talk to you about 20 different programs we have, but I'm not going to be able to pop into the website, but I'll tell you about a few. We have one program called the Community Wealth Building Program. And that program is all about helping residents learn about each other, but learn about each other through their gifts and talents. So very similar to how you all are here today. What we do is we do a big asset inventory, and we basically have people share all their skills, gifts and talents, aspirations, right? And then we take all of those entrances, all of the people who shared that information, and we put them in the cluster groups based on interests. And so some groups are artists, some groups are mechanics, some groups are more professional services. But as we bring those groups together, we find that we're bringing people together around the skills, the gifts and talents that they have. So we're working with their strengths, we're working with their assets and not judging them on any deficiencies, because we know that we're all not perfect. So a core part of community engagement is knowing the needs and interests of residents, knowing the needs and interests of yourself, knowing the needs and interests of people who you've spent a lot of time with. That's really important. Developing meaningful relationships, Some of you are already good at that. Some of you are going to have to build that skill. But it's going to be really, really important because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And not only who you know, but how do you get along with people? It's really important. Creating and controlling the narrative and sharing your own powerful story. When you think about yourself, when we think about the community, when we think about the work I'm involved in, it's very important that you tell your own story. If I'm here today, not sharing this with you today, and you pop on the news and you hear something pretty bad about Milwaukee, that'll be probably the only reference you have about Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But having had this opportunity to meet tonight and hear a little bit about the work that we're doing at Walnut Way, it offers an alternative perspective in terms of, let me develop my own truth. Let me figure this out for myself. Let me have my own opinion, regardless of the information that I'm being inundated with. Sharing your talents and developing the skills that fuel your vision and being a lifelong learner. That's what this work is actually all about. It's about sharing. So you get all these gifts, but imagine if you were here alone by yourself, what would they be worth? So all the things you think you know, how smart you think you are, all the things you're capable of, they don't mean anything if you can't share them with somebody, with somebodies in some cases. And so you have to really think about that what for and what am I here for? And you know it by your talents, but then you develop your skill over time through the experiences that you have. And then you have to think, one part of it is to take care of me and to be responsible for my own well-being. But another part of it is to contribute to broader society and make a contribution off of the gifts and talents that you were actually born with. It's really important. And environmental stewardship. Of course, we need clean air. Of course, we need clean water. Of course, we need to move away from fossil fuels. You know all of these things. Of course, we need to turn the water off earlier. Of course, we need to turn the lights off and flush the toilet once. Of course, we need to recycle. You know all of these things. In order to have the kind of quality of life that it would take to reimagine health and wellness, it requires us to create the conditions for that to exist. So are we willing to let go of fossil fuels? Are we willing to cut the light off early? Are we willing to flush the toilet only once? Are we willing to recycle? The choice is ours. And here we are when we look at the generations ahead of you all are hearing and seeing and figuring out. It's a little too late, but not necessarily for you all. And it's completely based on the choices that you make. Understanding that every choice you make impacts someone else. Have you ever heard that one about a butterfly and its wings creates all types of storms? It contributes to that. So we are all interconnected, right? Whether we like it or not in some cases. And so with understanding that, we all have something to contribute. And we clearly know that. And so as we have the moments where we fight against it, as we have the moments where we're unsure, just give yourself an opportunity to rethink, refocus, resettle, reabsorb, re-understand. Just a moment. That's all it takes. Just one moment, a deep breath. In environmental stewardship, for us, it's about taking responsibility for the places that we live in and where we spend most of our time. And so we transform vacant lots into urban gardens. We transform commercial property into active places where businesses and services are being rendered. It's a big part of our work. We understand that what we see has an impact on our overall health and well-being. If I come outside every day and the neighborhood is unpleasant or the neighborhood is unclean, what kind of effect does that have on a person? And that's very important to take that kind of responsibility. Again, in different ways and in different places, there are different challenges. But fundamentally, all of these things are the same for most of us. having access and producing good brain food. I know you all hear about all the things that is going on with our food. There's nothing more important than nutrients. There's nothing more important than good brain food. Food that sparks the imagination again. Food that helps fuel us towards accomplishing our goals, to meet our vision. These things are critical, right? And so as you're young and you feel like you're going to live forever and things are going to go your way, it's really important to build the skills and build the capacity and build the resilience in order to meet the moments when it's going to be a little bit harder to get through. And it's going to be necessary for you to be able to have some tools like RE in this case, to know that, wait a minute, I can stop, I can restart, I can stop, I can rethink in order to take my next step forward. Environmental stewardship, fueling new businesses and job creation, developing solutions within the challenges. The old adage, right? Turning lemons into lemonade. How do you create jobs in a place where unemployment is 60 or 70%, for example? How do you create businesses in a place where the income is less than $30,000? You have to reimagine it. You have to. You have to bring your imagination into that. And as you think about the service that you might render anywhere in the world, what you're going to take with you, right, is the skills, the talents, and you're going to take your imagination with you. And as you come upon things that you've never experienced before in life, in conditions that people are in that are far from anything that you've ever seen, all you have is your imagination to let you see something different, to let you believe something different, so that you have something to work towards and realizing again your vision, your dream. This is all really important when we think about the journey and where you all are headed. And so as we're thinking about and environmental stewardship, again, reorganizing resources, re-energizing movements around growing more food locally, as an example. Again, that ideal about reclaiming vacant lots. Who knew when this opportunity to present and talk about that I would come to find out that everything we do at Walnut Way is about It's about taking what we're experiencing and transforming it in some sort of way. So again, this title is really, really powerful, you all. And it should serve you, not just in this moment, it should serve you down your journey, along the road, and offer you some solace, especially in really tough times. Because again, you can actually read. So who know who that is? Anybody know who that is? Any Milwaukee or Wisconsin or greater Milwaukee area folks know who that is? So that's our mayor, Cavalier Johnson, before he became mayor. And he's in front of our cafe. One of the social enterprises we have is a small cafe called Taste of Lindsay Heights. And so he was there for the grand opening event. So I thought I'd just share that picture with you all. But catalytic or economic development is about practicing new ways of sharing resources and owning assets, right? How do we do those things? We have to imagine it. If the rules tell you you can't, and you all are teenagers, young adults, which is basically you all are rule breakers, right? You also can be rule makers, rule rewriters. It's completely up to you. You don't have to accept the status quo. It's about individually and collectively managing stress of financial uncertainty and traumatic events. Now, how does that fit up there? Catalytic development, economic development, individually and collectively managing stress of financial uncertainty and traumatic events. It's really important. You hear about the haves or the have-nots or the disparities in income. You hear about all of these things every day, right? But no matter how much money you have, you'll probably still likely deal with some level of stress. And as long as we're all here, we'll see and hear about experiences that are more than we really want to be able to accept. So you all have very important work ahead of you, regardless of the choices that you even think you want to do now. Just thinking about how you'll contribute to the greater good, to the larger collective, is really important. And what's so interesting about it is you can't control anybody else but you. So some of you all might already be there and you're ready to encourage others. Continue to spend your time working on yourself, understanding your gifts, your talents, your strengths, your weaknesses in a way that allow you to be able to meet moments and overcome them. You want to know your weaknesses so you know who to team up with. Everybody's not good at everything. Diversity is where innovation comes from. You got to have diversity to have ideas, new ideas. You got to have diversity to reimagine. If the same people are in the same room discussing the same problem, what's the outcome we'll get? We'll get the same outcome. You have to mix it up. And you have to be willing to do it. And you have to be willing to listen and learn. And the only way you can be a great leader is to be a good follower. And some of you may have heard these things before, but it's critical. Innovation comes from diversity, from being inclusive, from being willing to share. So before everybody goes to sleep, I'm going to take you back to Ree. So just remember that Ree is showing up everywhere. And think about it as a tool that you can use, not only to reimagine global health and wellness, but to reimagine things again in your own life, the internal goals you have. Because we all have internal goals and we have external goals. And it's really important that we work to achieve both, but especially be able to take care of ourselves. So my last bit of advice, if I can give some advice, is when you're in this kind of work and you're trying to achieve the kind of goals that you all are looking to achieve, there are a lot of lessons that come with that journey. And in the moments when you feel like you're not sure, ease into a space where you can read. And what I mean by that is this. Nothing necessarily happens like overnight. Everything happens in a process, so to speak. So think about things as process over product. Think about things in terms of, to get to the end, there is a process. And try to understand what those processes are. Try to see what the systems are that you're working in that produce that final product. And when you're in a situation, again, where it's stressful, it's anxiety, it's tough, the process or the way to ease yourself out of that is to have a good thought, a good word, and a good deed. And it can shift your attitude. Thank you. Questions? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Perfect. At this time, we do have microphones on either side of the auditorium. So at this session, at this time, and at every session that we'll have in the auditorium here, After the speaker has finished their presentation, delegates are welcome to please come forward. You can form a line if you have a question, and that we'll take as many questions as we can and hopefully engage in some really good dialogue. For those that are tuning in online, feel free to type your questions in chat, or you can raise your hand and I'll call upon you that way. But those that are joining us in person, if you do have a question, feel free to come to the front of the auditorium and form a line on at either microphone.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
And I'll add, when you come up to ask your questions, if you can please introduce yourself with your name and where you're from, and then you can ask your question.
Hi, my name is Amaya, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I just want to know, how do you not let your doubts cloud you in your mind when you're working? Yeah.